Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all having an amazing day. Today we are going to be doing a review and wear test on the Fenty Beauty Eaze Drop Blurring Skin Tint. So if that's something you're interested in, please like and subscribe and keep watching and we'll get right into it. First off, so this foundation retails for 46 Australian dollars on Sephora Australia. It has 32 mils, which is just a slight bit more than the standard, because they're normally standard is 30 mils, and it comes in 25 flexible shades. So something when I was trying to find my shade match was, if you went onto the Fenty website, it would say it would ask for your shade in one of their existing foundations, and what it was is there would be maybe 3 to 4 shades of, say, the Pro Filter Matte foundation would match to one shade of this. So quite nice and cute packaging. It is a dropper bottle, which I guess if it's a bit of a runnier consistency would be good. I ended up getting shade 2 in this one, and for reference, I tend to be shade 150 in the Pro Filter, but keep in mind that is before it oxidizes. When I actually buy my foundation in that, my shade in that foundation, I tend to actually go to 120, because then it oxidizes to the 150 before it oxidizes. So I tend to say my shade is 150, but I get a lighter one because of the oxidation. So I did my quiz on the Fenty website and it said to go with shade 2. Now this foundation says it's light to medium coverage for all skin tones, blends and blurs to instant perfection, light as air. So let's see what on the Sephora Australia website. Light coverage, easy to apply, flexible skin tint that instantly evens out your complexion and gives a flattering blurred effect. Eaze Drop with Hydrating Quick Blur Complex is perfect for a no makeup look, or for when you want to look effortlessly put together. It says applies well with fingers or a brush. I'm not a person that particularly likes applying foundation and base products with my fingers, so I was thinking I might do half of my face with a brush and then half with a sponge. This is the Jeffree Star X Morphe JS1 brush, and then this is the E.L.f. Cosmetics sponge. To prime my face, I'm going to be just using 2 products from E.L.f. I have the Blemish Control Face Primer and then the Matte Putty Primer. I have a video that either will already be up or will be going up soon, where I do a full face of E.L.f. and I tried these products out. So I'm just going to take 2 pumps of this primer and put that all over my face. I have just done my basic skincare routine already. Nothing different there, always the same as my everyday basic skincare routine, so definitely haven't changed anything. Trying to keep it consistent. I am going to be doing, as I said earlier, a wear test on this foundation. I'll probably try and get maybe 7 to 8 hours out of it. Just for reference, if you're new here, I do have oily skin, so we will definitely be seeing how this copes with my oils. And also, as you can see, I do have some friends at the moment all across my face, so we're going to see how it covers. It is obviously a light to medium coverage, so I'm not expecting them to be completely covered, but enough that they're not as obvious. So just put that all over my face. I am now just going to be taking the Matte Putty Primer and just putting that on all around my nose, on my forehead where my pores are bigger and where I also get oily. So just pressing that into the skin around my nose. something I quite like about Fenty as a brand is that in Australia we normally have to wait months sometimes to get a product that's been released in America, but with Fenty we get it at the exact same time that it's released in America and all over the rest of the world. So it is something that I appreciate significantly as a brand. It makes us feel like we're a bit more included down under, so that's amazing. And I do quite like majority of their products I've tried. I like the highlighting duos, I like the matte foundation. What else do I have from them? Hopefully I'll like this. I have their highlighting brush, which I love. I also have some Fenty skin products that I'm currently trying out. So as a whole, I love the Fenty kind of brand. I'm just going to shake this up first. So if it is a more liquidy formula, you just want to shake it up. So just taking some on the back of my hand. So yes, it is quite a runny formula. As you can see, it's running down the back of my hand there. And this shade looks like it should be pretty good. So I'm just going to, do the brush on this half of my face and the sponge on this half of my face. Just going to take some and dab this on. Excuse my hair. And we'll get to blending. Just put that on one half of my face, and I don't know if you guys will be able to see, but it seems to be just sitting on my skin really kind of funky. I do have some kind of drier skin patches, but it just seems to be sitting on my skin quite weird. Like, you can tell this something on my skin versus blended in. So I just don't know what I'm going to. But that first layer definitely gave enough coverage to even out my skin tone. You can still see my redness and still see my friends, but it just looks much more even, as you can tell. Redness, uneven skin tone, just a bit more even. So I'm gonna try with the brush on the other half of my face, and we'll see how the, no, sorry, not the brush on the other half of my face, the sponge on the other half of my face, and we'll just see how it goes. I did use most of the product for that kind of layer on the back of my hand, so I'm just gonna pop a bit more and try with the sponge. This is interesting. So I've just applied that to the other half of my face with the E.L.f. sponge, and it hasn't gripped in my drier spots as much. It's looking much more like it's blended in part of my skin versus sitting on top of the skin. So I don't know if it's just, well, it couldn't really be the primer because it was over my entire face. So I don't know if it was specifically that brush or maybe there was just a drier patch here, but I'm just going to go over everything with the sponge. And I'll do the rest of my makeup and I'll come back. For reference, it is currently 11:08 a.m. And obviously that is when I finished putting this on. I'll come back once I finished my makeup and let you guys know how it's going. Okay everybody, I've just finished my makeup for the day. It didn't particularly react with anything in a bad manner. There's a bit of a patch here, but that's my fault. I accidentally set my concealer before I applied my cream blush, so that is not the foundation's fault. But overall, it's looking okay. It's not particularly emphasizing anything more than would normally be emphasized. It's currently 12:13, so this has already been on for about an hour. I had to quickly just run an errand, and already for an hour you can tell my oils will probably start coming through and it's looking healthy. I just used the E.L.f. Hydrating Coconut Mist to set my face. I don't tend to use a matte setting spray, just because I feel it makes everything just look flat, and what's the point of that after you've just brought all the dimension back into your face. So overall, so far so good. Definitely applied better with the sponge than the brush for me. So yeah. The other thing I'd say was I'd consider maybe getting a slightly darker shade. It just looks a little pale on me, like it's washing me out a little bit. So that's something I consider if this is something I really love. But I'm going to be wearing this for, yeah, as I said earlier, probably the next 7-8 hours. We're already an hour in technically, so we'll consider it started at 11 a.m. And I'll be checking back in a couple of hours. Hey everyone, back for a check-in. It is currently 3:11 p.m. And so far so good. It's actually doing really well around the edges of my nose, which is quite surprising. The kind of texture patches have mostly gone away, I think, since my oils have been coming through, so that just kind of confirms my suspicion that maybe it was just clinging to a little bit of the drier patches on my skin. It is creasing in my chin mark right here. But other than that, really, really good. I am a little shiny, but I'm not overly oily. It's just a healthy type of glow. So it's been on for 4 hours now. I'm gonna wear this for probably another 3-4 hours, and we'll see how this goes. Overall though, it's looking really good. It's the type of thing, it's like a your skin but better type of look, which is good, because at the end of the day, not everybody likes full coverage every day, myself included. So no, this is quite a beautiful foundation. I'll be checking back in a few hours for our final check-in, and we will see what my skin is like and give final thoughts on whether or not I like this new Fenty foundation. Hi everybody, just back for the final check-in. For reference, it is currently 8:08 p.m. So I've had this foundation on now for 9 hours. Something I do want to mention is this foundation doesn't claim to be long wearing or anything like that. So to get the wear I've had out of this is very good, I think, considering especially it's not specifically catered towards oily skin. But overall, my oils have obviously come through. I did wear a mask this afternoon between check-ins for quite a while, and it did do well. It did transfer a little bit, but my entire bottom half of my face didn't come off. However, and I'll come close to this, it has almost completely transferred off my chin, and it is kind of doing this weird kind of curdling in my chin line. The rest of my face, it's just oily. So this is not long wearing. It's something that I would wear if I was maybe going to wear something for 6 or so hours, because it did quite well up until that point. I'm going to play around a little bit with the texture situation I had, play around with a few different primers I have, and just see how it goes. I'm actually just going to see though how it goes when I try and touch it up. So I just have my Sigma Spotlight Duster Brush, the F37, and I have my E.L.f. pressed powder, and I'm just going to take a little bit on the brush, just about that much, and mainly put this in my T-zone and either side of my nose and just see how this goes. It's helped with the overall appearance from a distance. Obviously look a bit less oily now, but it's still doing the weird situation on my chin, and obviously also a majority of foundation did come off my chin, and touching up is not going to fix that. You would have to apply more foundation for that. However, overall, I do really like this. It held up surprisingly well against my oils, considering it's a natural finish, not a matte finish. Normally, I find the foundations that hold up the best against my skin are the matte or satin matte foundations, not the natural ones, and they normally specifically have to be catered towards oily skin to work really well on my oils. This, it didn't emphasize my pores too much. It did a little bit of a funny situation with some dry patch, I think, but I'm going to play around and see if that's a once off or not. It obviously did transfer off. It's not transfer proof, but it did hold up well when I wore a mask. And it's got that type of your skin but better coverage. So on a day-to-day basis, this is definitely something I would like to wear. Yeah, so did well. Obviously, I do have highlighter on the tops of my cheeks, so that is not oil. But like it overall, it does well. So final thoughts on this is yes, definitely would recommend it. If you're going to use it on dry skin, would suggest you use a hydrating primer for this. If you're oily skin, probably a hydrating, not a super hydrating primer, but not a super mattifying one. And maybe do some pore filling if you find you have enlarged pores, but also walk into that knowing that it is not specifically catered for oily skin and it's not going to last the longest on your skin. But overall, it's a beautiful foundation. I would definitely recommend it. You do get quite a lot in this bottle. You get slightly more than standard. It's obviously got that dropper, which is a very sanitary type of thing for a foundation. Makes it very convenient. You just drop it out. So, no. And it's a small bottle. It's easy to carry around. So, They do have an amazing shade range, so I feel like there is a shade match thing on the Fenty website. If you are struggling to figure out what your shade is going to be, I would highly recommend going and using that if you're planning on picking this up, because it did help a lot. Like, this shade was actually really good for me, and I used the shade matching tool on the Fenty website. So that's it for this review, everybody. Thank you for watching. I would really appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe. I'll list all the products that I use for the rest of my face in the description box, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.